Hi, this is Ty Bordoni, professional full-time mediator and primary mediation trainer here in Central Florida in Orlando. Today I thought I would talk to you about an issue that just happened recently in a mediation that I had. And the question is this: how does a mediator know when to stop mediation, right? So what do I mean by that? When I do mediations, right, I have a flat fee for my first, 3 hours, and then every hour after that is an hourly fee. Typically everything is split between the parties. Now, that 3 hour session, I don't immediately cut mediation off unless I'm told otherwise. If the parties are okay, if the parties are working well, if the parties want to continue, we've given breaks, maybe we've broke for lunch, but the parties are doing good and they want to keep on going, and it's case by case, right? Every case is different. I'm happy though to continue if everything seems okay and everything seems appropriate, and we're working well. But at some point, right? At every point in every mediation, there's so many different things a mediator has to be aware of and work through, right? I like to say that at any given time, a mediator is we're juggling 10, 15 different balls, and we have to get really good at handling a lot of different issues and the reading the temperature in the room and being what we need to be for the parties. But by the same token, a mediator also has to be aware of how the parties are doing, and not be afraid to say, you know what, I think we need to stop now. Yes, parties, of course, they can say, you know what, I don't want to keep on going. I want to stop. Self-determination is paramount. It's one of the most important tenets of mediation, how the parties are feeling. But there are some warning signs. And in this case, I'm going to go over, I want to say probably 4 warning signs that I saw that let me know, you know what, I think we need to stop mediation for today. And that is, again, 1, this determination, if it needs to be made by the mediator, is a case by case kind of thing, right? There is no all encompassing, fast, hard, black and white rule. Right. There may be different jurisdictions, different ways mediators may do things. That I know there are some mediators who will, and by the way, this was a pro se case. There were no attorneys involved. That has its own difficulties. I want to be even more careful with unrepresented pro se parties. But in this case, just like every case by case, a couple of things started to happen. 1, right, and I'm a bit of a geek, so my spider sense started to tingle. I started to hear things that make a mediator, worry. I started to just kind of get a sense that things were starting to get heated, and the parties were doing it jointly. Now, is it okay for the parties to be sitting together in the same room virtually? Sure. If in your opinion it's appropriate and the parties seem to be getting along well and the parties also desire to do that, I think it's great when mediation can stay in without having to be in caucus, when it can stay in main session. So we started off that way, and my sense was, from having talked to both of the parties independently before mediation, that we could do this, and it might be very, very, very well be appropriate. All indications to me were that they'd already spoken to attorneys and they'd come into a potential agreement, and it shouldn't take too long. Well, we hear that a lot as mediators, and what I like to tell parties is, well, as we mediate, we'll see. Sure enough, though, the parties really weren't in as much agreement as they potentially thought that they were. And so as you start to see warning signs, things like someone saying, yeah, well, when we came up to that agreement, it was 3 a.m. and we had been, going straight for 7 hours, right? I don't feel as if everything is entirely fair. I'm feeling pressure. Those kinds of things are warning signs for the mediator when you hear certain things, and you're reading the temperature in the room, right? And so by the same token, parties will give you different positions, and they sometimes will be very subjective and not entirely, the way if you're an experienced mediator, you understand either that that's the kind of position that I could or should be hearing. Don't get me wrong. What is equitable is not up to the mediator, it's up to the parties, right? But sometimes you'll hear positions that are kind of out there. And so we have to reality check case by case. When your reality checking is consistently not working, and you've gone on to other issues and somehow it keeps coming back and you are winding up saying the same thing again and again, that's another warning sign. And I wrote these down. And then when you start to see tempers flaring, right, and understanding the situation and the scenario that they're in and where they are, and my gut in that moment told me, you know what, let me stop us now. Right now, one, I also made sure to give breaks. Right, people need to get breaks. They need to eat something. They need to get a breath of fresh air. They need to go to the restroom, as does the mediator. Right, and so we had breaks. But tempers were starting to flare. People were starting to get positional, and my sense was, even though they indicated to me that they had spoken to attorneys, I thought they needed to speak to attorneys again. And so that was my recommendation. My recommendation was, look, my sense is we should probably stop here, right? You did great work. Sometimes the point of mediation is not agreement, but rather helping the parties get to the place where they have a better understanding of what's going on, and then they can recognize, what do we need in order to move forward? In this case, my sense said we should stop now, right? Before things get a little too, irrational, right? Very smart individuals, very educated, but like I like to say, I hope I'm a good mediator, but my skills do not work at home. Why? Because I'm not rational, I'm irrational, I'm emotional, I'm vested, and sometimes I can't see straight. Neither can our parties. We're catching them, we're meeting with them, we're talking with them, we're trying to help them some of the most stressful times in their lives, right? And sometimes they have these blinders on, and we're not able to help them get past it, not that time. So my suggestion was, based on everything that I saw going on, my instinct said, let us stop. Let me tell the parties, please consider getting legal advice, and then let's reschedule this, right, for X date. What do you think? And we figured out, they agreed. We figured out a good time and place to continue. So what's the point? The point is, a mediator is always going to follow the will of the parties, of course, but we shouldn't be afraid to recognize when the parties are reaching, getting to a place where maybe they shouldn't keep going. Maybe we need to come back. Maybe we should stop for today. And I would tell you that today I got that sense, and that's exactly what I did. And you know what? They agreed, and you do your best to get them to a place where they can move forward appropriately, and hopefully they can come on back. But the point of the matter is, right, sometimes mediation, you did as much as you can today, and then you need to let the parties know, listen, I think it's time to stop. And how best shall we, continue? Shall we continue? Are we going to come back another point? Do the parties need to, are we just at an impasse? Is there a partial agreement? What is it that the parties need at that moment, right? We need to kind of make that determination, and then, but not be afraid to let them know, I think we should stop, and then tell them why, and tell them how you think you may be able to help them, if you can, moving forward. I hope that you took something away from that. Remember, how do we become better mediators? By experience, by mediating, right? There's no mistakes, there's learning opportunities, and by observing as well. If you can't mediate, then observe, right? Find a mentor. But the most important thing, right? Keep on making a difference in your community and world by mediating, one mediation at a time. So again, if you like that, I hope you will hit like. I hope you will share it with another mediator who you think might benefit from it. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time, and go out and make a difference in the world. Stay well. Thank you.